Welcome to The Hypnotist, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. Brought to you by the hypnotherapist demanded by celebrities, CEOs, and even royalty, Adam Cox. These recordings took place live from Adam's clinic in London's world-famous Harley Street. This podcast features powerful hypnosis, so do not listen while driving or operating machinery. This recording is not suitable for those with epilepsy or severe mental health issues. So, get yourself comfortable and enjoy today's episode of The Hypnotist.
Hi, it's Adam here, and in this episode of The Hypnotist, you'll be listening to a hypnosis session created for a client that was at the point or close to the point of threshold. And generally what it takes to break an addiction is to reach that point where when you weigh up everything that you're getting versus everything that the addiction is taking away and it's costing you, then it becomes so clear that this addiction is taking more than it's given. So if you, this particular client was cocaine, but if you look at alcohol, which is a more regularly and widely used drug, quite often people as teenagers will be introduced to alcohol, and in the early days it might give them a sense of feeling relaxed or feeling socially confident, and it may lead to experiences and a feeling of connection. And quite often in the early days, alcohol is giving good experiences, and there's no real health consequences at that point other than hangovers that are quickly kind of gotten over. No long-term damage to any liver or anything like that. It's generally a high upside and relatively low downside. But if that means that that person then drinks regularly for the next 20 or 30 years, so that they end up doing it on their own, not in social situations, that they drink when they're stressed or anxious, feeling lonely, whatever it might be, and that because of natural habituation that tends to happen with any drug, you need more to get the same feeling than you got before. You can see how what started where the balance was giving a lot and taking very little, and eventually gets to a point where it's taking a lot and giving very little. And in the early days of cocaine use, quite often it happens in a very social situation. It can be around close friends, or it can be around times of kind of celebration or party or achievement or accomplishment. And there's lots of emotions connected to that. And I've worked with quite a few people addicted to cocaine, and what tends to happen is relatively quickly, we're talking within years, it takes a lot more than it gives, and it can lead to really serious health consequences. I've worked with people addicted to cocaine that have lost teeth and septums and fingernails and all kinds of things, because it really is taking a lot more than it's given. And the purpose of this hypnosis session is to help the client get to the point of threshold where it really is enough. And part of the leverage for that was imagining people observing things that are normally done in secret to create a level of emotional leverage to say, right, there is shame attached to this because I wouldn't be willing to do it in public. And because of that, actually, why would I be ashamed of something if it's so positive? And that can, for some people, be the tipping point to get them to that point, the point of threshold where the straw breaks the camel's back, enough is enough, it's done, and then they're able to move on. So it's really designed to facilitate getting to the point of threshold. If you're struggling with an addiction, that could be cocaine, it could be crack cocaine, it could be alcohol, cigarettes, marijuana, whatever it might be, and you feel that hypnosis might be able to help, there will be a link in the show notes where you can reach out to me to have a free 30-minute consultation call. But you might find that this session, although created for a very specific individual that's been using cocaine for a considerable time, that this session may still in some way be helpful for you. So find a quiet place where you won't be disturbed, relax, and I won't say enjoy the session, but be open-minded to experience the session. Take a deep breath in. And as you breathe in that resourceful feeling of relaxation. And as you exhale, just allow feelings of stress, tension, or worry to leave your body in your outward breath. Breathing in and breathing out. And if it's safe to do so, allow your eyelids to close. And as they close, allow your mind to take you to a safe place. The safe place may be a memory, or it may be an idea. Or as you breathe in and breathe out, it may just be an acknowledgement that right here and right now, you are safe. As you breathe in and breathe out, I want you to picture the faces of those people that throughout your life you've loved the most. Those people that impacted your life in some way. And it doesn't just have to be people. It can even be a pet dog. I just want you to imagine that in this safe, comfortable place, you are surrounded by the people that you love and they love you. And I want you to notice that here in this place, you feel at peace. You feel centered. You feel connected to yourself, but also to people around you. As you continue to breathe in and breathe out, feeling a wonderful and powerful feeling of resourcefulness. And resourcefulness is just feeling that you have access to whatever you need. Maybe that is self-acceptance. Maybe that is inner strength. Maybe that is discipline, self-control. But it could also be creativity. Breathe in and breathe out and just get a sense that it feels like it's time to make a change. As you look back through your life, you can see that certain things led to a chain reaction, led to other things. And I want you to realize that when you think about your health, what's the thing that time and time again has caused destruction? At a cellular level, at a tissue level. I want you to get a sense that one thing more than anything else has proven to be destructive. And sometimes we will do more for other people than we will ever do for ourselves. If a man was standing in front of a burning house, they wouldn't dream of running into that burning building. But if they had a child in that room, in that burning house, it would take a small army to stop that person running into that house. No matter the damage, the risks to themselves, they would go into that burning building to do whatever it takes to get their child into a place of safety. So as you breathe in and breathe out, I want you to find that place within yourself that you would do more for other people than you would do for yourself. What sacrifices would you make? What adjustments? What decisions? And I want you to imagine here in this place, you're able to drift inwards into your own imagination and imagine a future time where you have a desire for cocaine. But I want something to change this time. Of all the people that you love, and perhaps love you, I want you to imagine the strongest connection, the most intense love is just there to observe. I want that person to observe you as maybe you evaluate a feeling of boredom, of low energy, a craving, an urge of some kind. And maybe you see yourself looking through numbers in a mobile phone, but I want you to see that person that you love the most watching you. Maybe even asking what you're doing. And I want you to look at this through the framework of radical transparency and brutal honesty. Tell that person you love the most that you're contacting a dealer to get some cocaine. And then imagine a naive voice asking, "What is that?" And I want you to imagine how you would explain, as if you were talking to a small child, what cocaine is and why you would even want it. Maybe you can see a confused face. And I want you to get a sense that when that person that you love the most asks, what has been the consequence of the cocaine use so far? I want you to imagine they're in the room right next to you and tell them everything that it's cost you. What it's done to your health, how much money has been put into this drug, the chain reaction that led to traumas and stress, the disappointments, the letdowns, the recklessness, the come downs. Imagine being radically honest and explaining all the damage that has been done. But for the sake of your imagination, I want you to imagine that you still continue to maybe message that dealer. And before long, they're there. And I want you to see them observe you as perhaps you pay for however much quantity you've bought. And then I want you to imagine that they are also there when you're using it. Imagine the facial expressions, their eyes, And maybe because you've explained all of the destruction, all of the pain, all of the consequences, maybe they're really concerned for you. And they seem visibly upset as they see you use this white powder. And then I want you to imagine you're now under the influence, but doing it in front of this person that you love the most. Maybe you're acting differently. And I want you to notice that they're seeing you act differently. Maybe it's an intensity. Maybe it's the speed at which you talk. Maybe it's movements that become more frantic. But I want you to see that they are seeing you as a user. And then I want them to see you do the things that you tend to do while you're under the influence, something that you would never do if they were there, but you tend to do when they're not. And I want you to imagine they're watching that until there is a growing sense that enough is enough. That eventually the straw does break the camel's back. That you pass the point of threshold where you're done. It's the past, and you will never touch it again. And I want you to just imagine that you've reached that point of threshold and that you've rewound to that same moment before it even happened, where your mind is open to new suggestions, new ideas, new ways of thinking that encourage you to consider alternatives. That your mind is opening up to new possibilities and healthier choices. I want you to release any cravings or desire for cocaine, knowing that it no longer serves a positive purpose in your life. That you finally recognize that cocaine is a temporary solution that only masks underlying needs and emotions. And that you are now committed to discovering alternative, healthier ways to fulfill your needs and find true satisfaction. And there'll be other things that don't do the same but meet the underlying need. Maybe an underlying need for exhilaration or adventure could be go-karting. Maybe that sense of gratification can come from good quality food. Maybe that stimulation for your mind can come from learning something new or doing a creative task. I want you to get a sense that there are alternatives and you are committed to exploring those alternatives. And that each day you cultivate new habits that support your physical and mental health, empowering yourself to make positive choices, channeling your energy into engaging activities and hobbies that bring you joy, fulfillment, and a real sense of purpose. Because for many years you've been chasing a synthetic, artificial high. But you are capable of finding natural highs in life, experiencing genuine moments of happiness and contentment without the need for cocaine. Imagine that time is going by, maybe it's been a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks without cocaine, and you're learning that you can deeply connect with your emotions, to learn healthy ways to process and express them, rather than the instinct to turn to drugs. And there are people that want to help you, and you will allow them to help you, allowing them to be part of your recovery. And sometimes what's needed to get through one identity into another identity is a vision for your future. And I want you to imagine that vision. A vision where you are a good dad, living a clean life, being a good example, having developed excellent coping strategies. See that vision for your future, filled with meaningful goals and always something to look forward to, aspirations that inspire you to stay on that path that some people call sobriety. And how good would it feel to replace the urge to use cocaine with a renewed focus on personal growth, learning, expanding skills, knowledge, or new experiences, new foods, new accomplishments. And whether it's through art or cooking, or looking at nature or going for a walk, or sometimes just being behind the wheel of a fast go-kart, I want you to get a sense that by practicing mindfulness, just being in the moment and living that moment fully, you're able to activate incredible self-awareness. And you've already started to recognize the triggers and negative patterns, and you found ways to work around them, and you're doing that more and more. So the need, or the perceived need, to use cocaine disappears because you now have choices. And from this point onwards, I want you to ask yourself a question. These things that you've been doing in private, would you do them if the people that love you the most, that would be the saddest if you were gone, were watching your choices and your behaviors? And I want you to get a sense that the shame is trying to keep you safe, but it also means you will experience incredible pride, satisfaction, a sense of fulfillment and personal growth when you find that cocaine isn't even doing what it was meant to do. I want you to imagine you're there in front of that person that you love the most, and I want you to imagine that you are sneezing or coughing up blood, and not small amounts, large amounts, filling your hands. If there's a tissue or a hanky, it's drenched in blood. And I want you to see that that person that loves you is so concerned, wondering is this the time that you die? And when you hold that thought of a hand or a tissue dripping with blood, it just cements this idea that enough is enough. Imagine you're a cat with 9 lives that's already used 13 of them. Now is the time to make a decision to move forward, to find those alternatives, to have 3, 4, 5, 6 things that you could always do ahead of ordering or using that cocaine. And then I want you to go forward a year from now, a year in the future, and imagine how good it would be to have been free of this drug for a year. Imagine that you're around family members that are so relieved you're still alive. Imagine you're standing in front of a full-length mirror seeing how much healthier you look. And I want you to imagine you're doing something that you can only do at the point where you've turned your life around. And imagine doing that thing and feeling how good you would feel to have another chance at life. Feel that incredible feeling and accept that this is not a possibility but a destiny. Once you decide that enough is enough and that cocaine is something in your past and never in your present and never in your future. And as you accept that to be true, return to the present, feeling a wonderful sense of relief, but also progress. Feeling like you've turned a corner, feeling that you will shortly awaken with a new identity. A non-user, clean and free of this drug. It's in your past. Never again. You don't want it, need it. And tap into that wonderful feeling you get from knowing that it's over for you. This is now in your past. Take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your nose. Wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes. Get a sense that you are fully in this moment. And when I count from 1 to 10, you will awaken feeling resourceful, motivated, happy, and at peace. But awakening as someone that will not use and does not use, and that any use is simply in your past. Starting to count to awaken you. 1, 2, 3, waking up. 4, 5, 6, more alert. 7, 8, open your eyes, open your eyes. 9, 10, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake.
Thank you for listening to The Hypnotist with Adam Cox, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. To automatically receive the latest episodes, please subscribe. If you'd like to support the show, please share this episode with just one friend you think it could help. And if this episode helped you, please leave us a 5-star review.